All right, everybody, it's your classroom quarterback with the one and only Dr. Alex Valdes. Did I say it right? Valdes.
Yes,
All right,
you said it
wonderful,
right with the
wonderful.
accent at the end.
Our accent at the end. We've been practicing this. So today we're going to talk about how every student can benefit from STEM. Every student, right? So for those who are watching or listening or however you're doing it, in case you don't know what STEM is, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. And according to the last few years, they've added art. So now they call it STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. But for today's purpose, we've called it STEM because I have a STEM joke later and I want to stick with STEM.
Yeah, I love it.
So what pulled you into the world of STEM?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that since I was like a teenager, I was really good in math and science more than my other classes. So it was like a very natural pull for me to go into the STEM field. So I always took my APs in sciences and math. So those were my favorite subjects. So when I decided to major in marine biology, like it was just natural to me.
So
Yeah.
you say you were good at math and science. Do you think students who go into the STEM field have to be good in those areas?
Absolutely not. No. I wish I would have felt the same success I felt in science and math with my languages classes. I grew up in Puerto Rico, so I had English and Spanish. And those were it was just so hard for me to like interpret poetry and to write about it. Like it seemed very abstract to me. So that's what I say. I felt more successful in the others, but you need those skills to be good in STEM.
Cool. Yeah, I was thinking about that because like for me, science, I'm okay. Math, horrible, right? I mean, like horrible. Once they added letters and numbers together in math, it was over for me, you know? And when they add a word problem, like what's the point of this word problem? Just give me some numbers and stop trying to tell me that Bill took 4 hours to paint a house and Sam took 2. I don't know why. I don't know why it takes them that long. I don't know. Plus, I'm not painting the house anyway. I'm going to hire somebody else to do it because I don't know what I'm doing. So that's a math problem, not for me. But I was just wondering if you aren't strong in math and if you're not strong in science, could you still flourish in the STEAM classroom and in the STEM industry? And you say yes.
Absolutely. No, I think what's so cool about STEM and more STEM education is that you're applying your mathematical skills, to real world problems. So it feels more tangible for a student to apply the math and not so like, oh my God, this is so intimidating, I can't do it.
Right. Well, that's cool. So what's one thing you'd like for all teachers? So we're talking to the teachers now. What's one thing you like for all teachers to really grasp about STEM?
And I love this question because I'm very passionate about it from a personal and professional perspective. I think, honestly, like the jobs of the future are in STEM fields, okay? And they run from being a wind turbine installer to be a surgeon, right? So we have multiple different skills. We have multiple educational degrees for those jobs. So we need to prepare our future, right? We need to prepare our future generation for that advanced technological global market. We just have to.
Yeah. So the future is going to be STEM. So we got to be trained in it.
It is already STEM.
Right. That's true. You're right. I mean, just think about it right now. You're all the way across somewhere and I'm all the way over here. And here we are talking to each other in real time. That was somebody's vision. Somebody's vision was to come up with a way that they could code this thing to where we can have a dialogue in real time and not even be in the same room. Pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what are some easy ways that teachers can incorporate STEM in their teaching without making them feel like they're doing more stuff? That's the one thing that when it comes to teaching, it's like, oh my God, I got to do. Now you want to incorporate STEM in my class. I got to do. So what's something that teachers can do that allows you to incorporate these principles, but it doesn't feel like you've burdened them with another task?
Yeah. And I love that question too, because I spent my summer doing a lot of research and reading articles and writing a proposal for that. Like, how can we integrate STEM education without being another burden, right?
Right, right.
So I think in a nutshell for me, like, honestly, like STEM skills and STEM education, it's about being interdisciplinary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think most teachers are doing STEM. It's just that they need to collaborate with other teachers to put it all together,
Mm. So
right?
in
So
essence, I'm doing some of it already. I just didn't realize I was doing it.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, I feel like that. I think we need to find a unifying problem, real world problem to solve and make it a project. But that project needs ELA skills, social studies, history context, primary sources, secondary sources. We need the mathematical thinking, more
Mm-hmm.
like data analysis, like percentages. Science, definitely, if you are talking about building a prototype, a model to solve the problem, right? So I feel like all subjects could and should be part of the STEAM curriculum or framework per se.
I like that. Everybody has a home in STEM.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now let me give you a hard one. Now here I am. I'm a physical education teacher. How do I put STEM in my gym? Ooh, I like the way that rhymes.
Well, no, anytime that you're using technology to measure anything related to your health, to your wellness, to your
Mm,
exercises, right?
mm,
Like even like your BPM, right? That's related to STEM. You're using technology. You want to get better. You have a goal. You're measuring data.
wow, I've been doing STEM in the gym and didn't even know it. Y'all see that? I am
Right?
a STEM expert and didn't even know it. Oh my gosh. What would I do without you? What would I do without you? All right. So what's the greatest thing that you want your students to understand when they leave about STEM when they leave your classroom?
I want them to enjoy STEM.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to empower them to continue their STEM education and hopefully become part of the STEM field,
Mm-hmm.
and have a career in STEM.
Yeah. Yeah. And since we're talking, you mentioned earlier about that STEM is the future, STEM is the present, but definitely the future. What do you think it's going to take for people to see that STEM is not some educational fad, but it's actually the future? Like, what will it take for us to grasp that it's not just some new thing they're trying in education that's going to fizzle out in a few months? This is here to stay.
Yeah, I think it's just, well, I love data. So just showing some data about the jobs, the trends, the kids, you know, what skills do they need? I do this with my students every time they start my class. I show them like when you're about to graduate from high school and you go to college, what are the jobs
Mm-hmm.
are going to be available for you? You know, so I like to do that. And then another thing I like to do is also talk about how to use STEM in your life now. Like we're using the microphone, you're using the Zoom link, you're using even like your glasses. Who built
Mm-hmm.
those?
Right.
You know?
And it's funny you mentioned the glasses. These are actually, I can see just fine without them. I've got 20/20 vision, but these glasses are actually designed for the blue light. So when you're looking at screens for too long, it helps with your headaches and all that stuff. So these are actually technology, right?
Yeah.
Gamer glasses and stuff like that. And I purchased them. I was testing them out because now that our children are going to be going through virtual school, basically, we're going to be virtually for at least the first 9 weeks per se. I'm testing them to see if they were quality, to see if I want to buy my son some. So if they're going to be looking at a screen for a long period of time, I wanted them to protect their eyes. And you mentioned the glasses, so I threw that technology, and STEM is in action. Even what we wear, I went out and walked this morning. I'm wearing a dry fit shirt. That was technology that goes even into our clothes that allows us that the sweat will pull off of our body and wick into our clothing to where we're not just sapped with sweat, but we can continue to exercise. It's amazing how science and technology and engineering and math is everywhere. So is art.
Yes.
Arts rock. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all, what I like about it, it's all to make it better, to make society better, to solve,
right.
you know?
Yeah. Yep. That is pretty awesome. All right. So you mentioned earlier about STEM being the future. What do you see within the future as it relates to STEM and STEM education? What do you see changing or morphing? Because being that you have a passion for this, I'm sure you kind of like look at the forecast, what's coming down the road.
Yeah. So like you mentioned, like STEM is going nowhere, right? We're going to have way more STEM careers available. So we need to prepare our kids for those jobs. So there's definitely going to be an increase in that. I see more jobs in terms of coding, data analysis, right? Because we know when we look at data, we look at the numbers, we see the trends, we know what works and what doesn't work in every field, right? So definitely there's going to be more of that. And you can see it too. Like those are the jobs that are in the market right now. So they're going to keep increasing. Also how to program a robot, you know? So instead of having all these guys doing deliveries to our houses, we can have a robot doing the delivery, but someone needs to manage that and know how to program them.
Man, you know, I was watching a show the other day. What was it called? It was called Humans or Humans 2.0 or Humans, something of that nature. But it was basically all these people had robots, but the robots were created to be like human. But there were some that were created with the actual ability to feel like we do. And they were being those robots were being hunted because they couldn't understand them because they had human characteristics. It was a pretty interesting show, but you know, you think about with robots, how far robotics have come. You know, now you got robots that build our cars, robots who, you know, I drove through the drive-thru the other day, and the lady, they don't even fill your drinks anymore. They just push a button and the thing goes on a carousel and it knows exactly how much to put in your cup. And, you know, now you get it back out, but with all the drink all over the side of it now. But, you know, maybe we'll create a robot to wash the cup.
Well, see, that's the scary part. I have to confess, I appreciate robots, but I do not like robots that are trying to mimic humans or feelings. You know, I feel like we are irreplaceable and we're much needed, and like robots will never be able to do what we do.
Right. They should be able to assist, not replace, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. See that brilliant brain I got up here? When I hang out with you, I get smarter on the spot, man.
Love it.
So look into the camera. This is your final statement of the interview. Look into the camera and share one closing remark with the teachers out there that are watching this. Share with them what you hope stems from our conversation about STEM. See what I did there?
Okay, got it. The joke. Well, I mean, STEM, it's our present. It's going to be our future. It's going to mark our success as a society. So as teachers, we have the job to educate the future generation for those jobs, for that market, right? And especially in public education, like underrepresented groups are not there in STEM, because that happened to me when I was a scientist. I felt very lonely and I needed other Black scientists and Latina scientists and people of color in the field with me. So we need to be very committed to STEM education in the public, especially because we want to see those kids be successful in STEM careers.
Well, there you have it, folks. Good people. I'm your classroom quarterback, and you've been blessed by the one and only Dr. V. I want to say thank you so much, Dr. V, for sharing with us today. I hope that everyone who watches this video gets a better glimpse of how important STEM is and how they can incorporate it in their classrooms and start to build up that next generation. Because that kid in your class that you feel like just ain't gonna get right, he may be the next person to create the next great thing that allows us to live our best lives. So STEM is here to stay. It's here to stay. All right, teachers, I hope you guys have an exciting and enriched and enthusiastic beginning of your school year. This is your classroom quarterback, and we are out.